Hi friends, and welcome to the first market vlog of 2026. I'm so excited. I got into my market. I was originally waitlisted for this event because I signed up a little late, but this week the organizer called me and told me I had a spot at the event and I am able to do this market. So the market is happening Sunday, March 22nd, and today is Friday. So we just have a little tiny bit more time to prep for the event. I started market prepping last week for this event specifically, so I already have quite the good inventory made so far. And ever since I got the call on Monday that I actually got into the market, I have been prepping like crazy and have finished so many plushies. So we also have this whole big bag of plushies to add to my finished bin. So let's get into what I made so far this week, and then we can talk about some last minute plans, like what else I want to prep before the market. I will also include the market into this video and take you along for the market day, talk to you a little bit throughout it if possible, and then of course give you the breakdown of how the market went. It's my favorite street fair, so I'm really excited. And last year I did super good at the Easter event specifically. So I am so excited that I get to do this market. But let's get right into what I prepped and what I would want to make if I have any more time to prep before Sunday. So in last week's video, which was part 1 of the market prep for this event, I showed you this list where I planned out what I wanted to prep for the market, having in mind that I only really had 2 weeks to prepare for the event. So last week we mostly focused on chubby birds and made 10 chicks, 10 mallards, and 10 penguins. So I got to cross all of those off my list, and that left me still with a lot of plushies to make. So the next item that was on my market prep list were chickens, because this is my only market before Easter, and I think this is the perfect time of year to prep some chickens. So this is the Mabel chicken pattern, and I wanted to make 10 of those, so that is what I ended up doing. I have prepped all of them, so let me show you all of the different colors that I made. So I have the rose speckled chicken, and I have 4 of those. And it's not because like this is the most popular color that I made so many of those. I basically had quite a lot of that back at home, and I ended up using up all of the chicken yarn that I had back at home. So that is why I ended up making 4 of the rose speckle and less in the other colors. So then next I made 2 in this darker gray speckle and 1 in this lighter gray speckle. And this also has like 2 rows of a different yarn color, if you can tell on camera. That was like a small little leftover part of a skein that I had back at home, and I can't really get this color anymore, so I've been wanting to use it up, and I think it looks actually pretty nice on this chicken. So 3 gray chickens, 2 in one color, and then this one. Then we have 2 in the beige speckle, like this. And then the last one is a white chicken, so this one. And this is also like made up of different skeins. So I had part of a white chicken already crocheted back at home, and I had run out of the yarn completely. So what I ended up doing is the final like 2 rounds of this chicken are actually like double-stranded chenille yarn to make it a little thicker and not as noticeable that it's thinner yarn. And I think it worked out perfectly. Like I can't even tell where I switched yarns. So 1 white chicken finished. So I was able to cross all 10 chickens off my list, and I'm completely done with those. Then last week, apart from chubby birds, I was able to make 1 turtle, and I had 6 on my list, so I ended up making quite a lot more this week to be able to cross off this category, and I actually ended up making 6 more. So we have a total of 7 different turtles. So we have the one that I just showed you that I made last week. We have a blue turtle, 2 in the natural looking colorway, which always do pretty well. So 2 of those, and then we have 3 with beige bodies. So one with a mustard shell, one with this kind of like berry purplish shell, and then one with a green shell. So 7 different turtles, and I was able to cross that off the list as well. And then I really made quite a lot this week because I was honestly feeling so underprepared. So I really wanted to prep as much as possible this week. So next on my list were brontosauruses. I wanted to make 4 of them, and that is what I did. So I made one in this classic green, one in this brighter green, one in pink or like salmony pink, and then one in this super bright blue. So 4 dinos completed and ready to go to the market with me. And then next up I have 6 bees on my list, and currently I only have 5 of those made. So I have 5 in this yellow and black color scheme. So I still have 1 that I want to make, but ideally I would like to make a couple of rainbow bees. So if I have any time to prep anything else, I would really like to make a couple of those, possibly even 5, because they tend to do like as well as black and yellow bees. So that would be ideal, but for now we have 5 of these little bees finished. And then next on my list are capybaras, and I really should have prioritized those because this is kind of like a newer pattern that I actually haven't brought to this market. And at this market specifically, I have a lot of repeat customers, so I always try to bring a couple of new items and new patterns for people to find something new at my stall every time. So I would really like to make some more of those. I currently only have 1 of them finished. So this is what he looks like. And I had 3 on my list, so I would love to make 2 more if possible. But for now, we only have 1 of those little guys. And now we're getting into the final few items. I originally had a big bunny on my list that I wanted to make, but I ended up looking around, and it's not that I didn't find a good pattern. There's lots of really good bunny patterns around. I just really didn't want to buy a whole new pattern, honestly, and I would really like to make some hoodie bunnies in the future, but I didn't really have the time to figure out the ears and everything, so I decided to switch it up and not make a big bunny, but instead I made a bigger dino. So this is the chubby dino pattern, and this is made in blanket yarn, as you can tell, so it's quite a good size. It's definitely like very chunky for a chunky dino. So I really like this one. I really like the yarn color, and yeah, I really hope that he gets a new home at my market. So this is like one of the bigger items I made this week. And then the final item I made this week is one more cat. So I have this dark gray kitty, and I had started working on this one I think in December, so I had this as a work in progress for quite a while, but I ended up running out of the dark gray color in December and never finished it. So I found it this week and I ended up making that up completely just to have a couple more cats. I have 4 bigger cats in my inventory. I made a whole video about trying some new cat patterns, so I have those from then, and then I have 1 more in this body style but a different fur pattern, so 2 of these little cats so far, and if I have time I would like to make some more of those. So yeah, that is everything that I prepped this week, quite a lot, and the plushie bin is actually pretty full, which feels pretty good, and I definitely prepped quite a lot in a very short amount of time over the course of the past 2 weeks, ever since I found out that I might be having this market. So we have this whole bin, and then of course we have the mini plushie bin, which is still pretty full. I do need to take some out of here because I actually ended up having 2 different Etsy orders for 3 mini items in total, which is very exciting because my plushie Etsy has kind of been dead for quite a while. So I'm really excited to see it pick back up again a little bit. And yeah, I'm really excited to see if that might be the revival of my Etsy shop. So I have 2 orders to pack up as well. So I need to take those plushies out before I take them to the market. But yeah, for now, I also need to make 2 wholesale orders for my candle business, which is almost 100 candles, so quite a lot to do there. So that is what my evening will be today, but I will hopefully check in tomorrow with you guys and show you if I have any more plushies completed. All right, friends, it's now Saturday and it's the evening now. As you can tell from the light, I actually had to work a little bit this morning, so I didn't really have a ton of time to check in with you guys. But I'm about to pack my car, so I wanted to show you what I have managed to finish since I spoke to you yesterday. So I was able to finish 2 more little capybaras. So this one is the same as the one I showed you yesterday, and then I also made one with dark brown details, and I actually think I prefer this one a little more, even though this is like technically a little more correct, like how they look in real life. But I think I like this one more with the contrast. But we will see how those do tomorrow. I have never brought them to this market before, so I don't really have any idea if they will be popular there. And yeah, I'm about to pack my car for this market. The only like downside to this market is that you don't get a booth plan beforehand, so you have to show up to the market and then they tell you where your spot is. So that kind of makes it a little nerve-wracking always, and the organizers are not always easy to find, so that's always a little stressful about this market. I also have to be there at 8 at the latest, and the market doesn't start until 10, which is kind of a long time when I'm only bringing plushies. It only takes me like half an hour to do my setup at this point because I've had the same setup for quite a while. So that's always like a lot of time in the morning. But I think for tomorrow I will actually take some yellow yarn, and I might even take eyes and stuffing, which I don't always do, and work on some chicks, like the chubby stress ball chicks, because I think they will be pretty popular. And last year at this market, I think I brought like around 8 to 10 of them, and I ended up selling out of them in the first 2 hours of the market. And currently in my inventory, I have 10 of them. So I think I might need to make a couple more of those. So that is my plan for what I want to crochet at the market. And yeah, I'm really hoping for a good turnout tomorrow. We had regional elections 2 weeks ago in my area, and the city that the market is set up in actually has runoff elections between the final 2 candidates. So I think people have a pretty good reason to be out and about tomorrow. And the market is like right in the city center, so I really hope that people will be out tomorrow. And I think the weather is going to be pretty perfect. It's like supposed to be sunny and kind of like very spring-like, so definitely a good setup for a market. But yeah, I will add these 2 to my market bin and then start to pack my car, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning for setup and the market day.
Yazdım ki yazdım. Yazmış hiç almam. Hiçbir yere yazdım. Ben yaptım hiçbir şey etmem.
Good morning, friends. I'm at the market now. It is 9:30 and I'm completely set up, so half an hour until the market starts. We were actually there at 8 today, like you're supposed to be. I was late last time, if you remember that. So setup is complete. I ended up tagging my plushies here that I hadn't tagged before, and now I will start to work on some chicks. I didn't end up taking stuffing or eyes, so nothing will be finished today, but I can still work on something. I did bring a chair today. I don't always do that, but this week has been pretty exhausting already, so I know that I can't stand around for 8 hours today. So yeah, that is the plan. The weather is beautiful, so we shall see how this day goes. Alright, it's 12:30 and it's crazy busy so far. I've had like 20 sales or so doing pretty good. Okay, it's almost 3 now and it's really busy, as you can tell. And yeah, chicks have been selling great. We have 2 left currently out of the 10 that I brought. So yeah, pretty good seller I think today. Minis as well have been doing super well. And yeah, I'm just like stalling now because I brought too little yarn to work on projects, which actually has never happened before. So that is a new thing, but yeah, I'm running out of things to do. So I've tagged every item that I could with all of the tags that I had. I'm now adding business cards to all of my bags and all of that. So yeah, we shall see what I keep on doing the next 3 hours. I'm running out of things to do, but I've made like 6 chicks and 2 baby octos with all of the yarn that I had. So a couple of things done at least, and yeah, we have 1 bee and 1 capybara left. So I think that I will run out of those at some point, but we shall see. Alright friends, it's now 4:30, so another 1.5 hours left to go, and it's really died down ever since 3 I think, so yeah, it's kind of dead. I sold like 5 more plushies after 3, so not a ton, and I don't have anything else to do, so yeah. So I've actually started to shop around a bit and yeah, walk around the market, which I never get to do at this market. So definitely a lot slower afternoon than usual at this market, but yeah, I'm not expecting it to pick up anytime soon. So I think it's just going to stay this way and yeah, be kind of a slower second half of the market than the first half was. But yeah, I'm just hanging out. At least I have sun in my booth. It's very cozy in here. So that is a good thing.
Alright friends, and welcome back to the studio. So welcome to the market recap portion of this video. And for this year, since this is the first market of 2026, I will explain a little bit how I want to do my breakdowns for this year, because recently I've been really enjoying when I watch other crocheters and also other small businesses that do their breakdowns this way. I really enjoy seeing how much they brought versus how much sold. So that is what I want to do for this year's markets. So I will put a picture or even like a video up here, because I did take a video of every single item in my booth because I wanted to upload that as a reel as well, like how much I brought to my market versus how much sold. So yeah, I will put a picture or a little clip of every single type of item that I brought up here, tell you how many I brought, how many I sold, and how much I sold them for, because recently I've been thinking that this actually adds quite a lot of value to these market breakdowns and like gives you the best sellers at the same time, and we can talk about every type of item and why I think it might have performed really good or worse than expected and all of that. So let's get right into the numbers. So I brought 10 chickens to this market and I only sold 2 of them, and both of those were the gray speckled chickens. So these always kind of sell but are never in the best sellers. So 2 out of 10 is kind of expected. It kind of surprised me that I sold 2 gray speckled chickens because those tend to not be the best seller. And I even sold the one that I prepped last week where I had 2 different type of yarns in the chicken. So that actually sold first. So that was really surprising. And I also got a question if I had any blue chickens, which are from Stardew Valley, and I don't have any. So for the future, I might actually look into getting some blue, really bulky chicken yarn and start making some of those. But yeah, 2 out of 10 for 15 euros each. Then next I brought 4 brontosauruses and I sold 2 of them for 22 euros each. Next I brought 7 turtles and I didn't sell any of those, which was really surprising. Like 2 or 3 times people were almost wanting to buy one and like pick them up and were really like thinking of getting it, but they always decided on something else instead. So that was really surprising. Usually turtles do a lot better. Even though I didn't sell any, I would sell them for 16 euros each, just to give you that information as well. Then next up were some new items. I brought 4 of these bigger cats, which are the green frog crochet pattern that I recently bought and tried out. And I ended up selling only 1 of those. So I can't really tell you anything about them being a really good or a really bad seller. Just in general, they were like kind of in the middle, and at least 1 of them sold. They had a little bit of attention, but I also think like the placement where they were at in my booth wasn't ideal. They were kind of like to the side because I had like a Z formation of my booth, and they weren't like at the front table, but like more towards the side of the Z. So I'm not sure if that had anything to do with only 1 of those selling. I did move them up to the front table towards the end of the market once I started selling some other items, and that is when 1 of them sold. So yeah, we shall see at the next markets how well they do, and I sell them for 22 euros. Then next up, one of the best sellers of this market, I brought 5 bees and I sold 5 of them, and I definitely could have sold more if I had more. I think I sold the last one at around, let me actually look, I recorded the times this time at the market because as you can already tell, it wasn't like insanely busy. So let me see when I sold the last one. I sold the last one right before 3 o'clock. So yeah, still 3 hours left at the market. So I think I could have sold like 2 or 3 more if I had more at this event. And yeah, I definitely want to prep more in the future because like especially at the spring markets, I kind of forgot how well the bees actually sell. And that is exactly why I'm doing this breakdown the way I'm doing it now. That like also I can look back at my videos from the year before and see what the actual numbers were of items that I sold. So 5 out of 5 bees sold for 8 euros each. Then I had the bigger octopi. I made 5 of them recently in one of the market prep videos, and I only sold 1 of them, but at least that's something. That is just some yarn that I wanted to get rid of, so 1 is better than none, and I sell them for 8 euros. Then another very popular item at this market were my capybaras. I made 3 of them and I sold 3 of them. And the last one I also sold around like right before 3 o'clock. So yeah, definitely want to make more of those in the future, and I sell them for 15 euros. Then I actually sold 1 of my hoodie bears for 30 euros. I brought 3 of them and the froggy bear sold. So that is actually very exciting because at the street fair, usually like bigger items don't really sell. So selling an item for over 25 euros is very exciting at this market. So 1 of the hoodie bears sold. I then brought 2 cats and I sold 1 of them, which was the lighter one, like the sand tuxedo cat style. And I sell those for 14 euros. Then let's get into my mini items, and that was like really nice to have so many of those prepped and be able to restock my little mini plushie bins like every time something sold. And yeah, it kind of makes me sad because they didn't do as well as the past few markets in this town. So I didn't even like really get to cherish the fact that I have so many of those in stock. So they ended up doing like okay-ish, but nowhere near how well they have been selling at the past events in this town. So yeah, it still felt good to be able to restock them at all times. But yeah, I think this feeling would have been way better if they had actually sold like a little more crazy than they did. So let's get into those. I sold 5 of my baby whales and I brought 50 of those, and I sell all of my mini items for 6 euros and 50 cents, and that is like a slight little increase compared to last year. Then I sold them for 6 euros, but just with like everything and all of the costs, I had to raise the prices, and I also couldn't keep them in stock. So yeah, I raised my prices, and even though I have a lot of repeat customers in this town, Nobody actually commented anything negative or anything like that. So definitely a good decision to like slightly raise the prices on those. Then next I brought 50 octos and I sold 7 of those. I also brought 50 mini chicks with hats and I sold 8 of those. And then the bestseller for the mini items were the little penguins. I brought 50 of those as well and I sold 12 of them, which is really exciting. And the best-selling color for those, which I actually ended up selling out of, were the darker purple versions, like both of them that I made. And then also the 2 pink little penguins sold pretty quickly. So I actually might want to restock those before my next event because they ended up being so popular. So in total, I ended up selling 32 mini items, which is pretty good, but still only a sixth of my inventory for mini items. So no like really big need to restock them before the next market, even though I might want to make a couple of them, especially in the colors that ended up selling out. Then let's get into chubby birds next. So penguins, I sold 5 out of 10. Chicks were the most popular. I ended up selling 9 out of 10. So I had 1 left at the market. So that means I didn't regret not bringing eyes and stuffing to the market and remaking some of them because I brought 1 back home. So definitely the right amount of chicks for this market. And then mallards were the least popular out of the chubby birds this time around. So I only sold 4 out of 10 for those. And I sell all of my chubby birds for 10 euros each. And then finally, something else that was really surprising. I had this bigger chubby dino that I just made in one of the market prep videos. And it actually sold for 25 euros. So that is another item category that I guess sold out. But I only had 1 of those. So in total, I ended up selling 67 plushies at this market, and the revenue at this event was 612 euros and 50 cents. So I think still a very good revenue, but for this market, it's actually the lowest I've ever made at this event. I've been there 6 times now, and this was the worst market. So yeah, I don't really know why that was. I have a couple of theories why people might not have wanted to spend money, because actually at the event there were so many people. There were times in the like early afternoon at this market where I couldn't even see the vendors on the other side of the street. So yeah, very busy, very many people walking around, but not a ton of shoppers. So yeah, kind of surprising to me. Definitely something to see how it turns out in the future. I will be back at this market in the middle of May, and last year the summer events really didn't do all that well for me, so we shall see how this one will turn out. But before then, I have another event, a big 2-day event where I really sold so much last year, so I definitely want to prep a ton before that as well again. But yeah, that was kind of like everything that I wanted to share about the market. Still very good result, but yeah, I kind of expected to make a little more, so we shall see how this market year turns out. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me to the first market of 2026. There's lots more awaiting this year, so definitely stay tuned for those and for all of the market prep that will be happening before all of those events. I will see you guys again next week for another video. So until then, bye!